Hey everyone, my name's Mackenzie. I'm the founder of a business called Grad Jobs, where I help students and grads all over the world to get awesome jobs. I'm here today with an absolute legend, Tommy.
Good to see you, Mackenzie. How are you going today?
Likewise. Very well. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, it's a bit cold in Melbourne, but good Thursday, so we're going into Friday, so very happy.
Fantastic. Almost the weekend.
Absolutely, yeah.
They don't have you working on weekends, do you still?
No. Yeah, they're pretty good. Generally, I get to do the 9 to 5 and a little bit more sometimes, but generally, yeah, get pretty good hours.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for taking time out of your Thursday evening to chat with us. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. Happy to do it.
All right, well, let's get into it. So I first met Tommy quite a while ago in September 20, midway, so about 2 and a bit years ago. So it's been a while, and Tommy's been very, very successful, I would say, when it comes to getting good jobs and kind of kicking off your career. He secured too many internships, like too many to even list off, some directorship roles at, I think, kind of student clubs or societies, and casual roles. You were, I think, leading or doing work for an e-commerce store, like a large store, managing teams during university of people. And so he did really, really well. And then on top of that, when it came to actually graduating, he ended up getting multiple offers, having to actually turn some down in order to pursue what was his big dream, which is, where he is now. So I think the main point of today is just to share Tommy's story, because there are a lot of students and graduates out there who would absolutely love to have the same kind of success. So, yeah, thanks for coming.
Cool, no worries. That's a great intro. Sold me well.
Fantastic. I'm glad. So, first question: what do you do now? What is your work?
Yeah, so I'm a junior strategist at a advertising company called The Royals down in Cremorne in Melbourne. So basically, a junior strategist, the kind of the role is to be sort of the face of the consumer in advertising. So you're kind of trying to bring in what the consumers want into the actual work that is created. So doing a lot of research, talk, whether it's focus groups, it could be sort of just desktop research, be a lot of that sort of stuff, and then figuring out an interesting angle to give to the people who actually create the advertising. So a strategy for them to then go off and create something. So yeah, that's basically what I do. A lot of research at the moment, a lot of looking at competitors, and a lot of sort of talking to people as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. So would I be correct in saying that you're kind of like a desire detective?
A little bit, yeah, definitely, yeah. It's all about sort of human behavior, and sort of digging, a little bit into like sort of psychology and really sort of digging into, people's problems. What are their pain points in life, and trying to figure that out, and then sort of matching that up to what advertising we create for our clients.
That's super interesting. So, how would you classify your role? Would you say it's branding, marketing?
So we do a little bit of everything. So, sort of as a strategist, you can do sort of brand strategy. So, a brand might come and they want to revamp what their strategy is, and so we'll obviously help with that. We'll do a lot of focus groups and interviews within the organisation, find out sort of what they're like, and then eventually create some sort of brand strategy for them. And then it can also be just campaign based. So we've got retained clients and clients that just come with a specific thing that they want to do, whether it's increase awareness or increase sales or whatever it is. And then our job is then to sort of figure out the problem behind the problem. So yeah.
Amazing. It sounds fascinating. And
it's very fun.
Very fun. Is this what you saw yourself doing back when you chose your degree?
No, not at all. So I think so I went to sort of some career counselors before I decided what I was going to do, and I sort of always liked psychology, I always liked writing, and I liked business. Like, they were sort of the three things I liked. And so, but I didn't know what I wanted to actually do. And so, yeah, the career counsellor suggested actually doing commerce law as sort of getting some 2 degrees that are sort of different pathways that you could match up with those sort of interests. And they also just suggested commerce psychology, which I almost did as well, but ended up going with commerce law at La Trobe. And sort of going into that, I sort of didn't really know what I wanted to do still. And it took me, like, I didn't choose, so I changed majors like 3 times. I started off in management, then I went to finance, and then I finally landed into marketing. So it took me to get to sort of marketing to realize the interest I have, which it took until then, and then from there advertising only sort of popped up in the last year of my degree. So it's been a long journey to find that. And then once I sort of found that I really enjoyed sort of the advertising side, it then took another bit of time to then actually figure out that the strategist role is what I want versus being an account person or being in actually making the ads as a creative.
Interesting. And do you have any tips for students kind of still not sure about what they want to do?
I think looking back, what I would have done more so, because it took me a while to actually find it, which is obviously always going to happen, because it is a journey. Most people, I don't think, know what they want to do straight out of school. It's just not something that happens, I don't think, anymore. So I think you need to sort of test out and talk to people. That's the main thing. So whether it's going, hey, can I come into your business, I'm interested in blah blah, and just shadowing someone for a day or 2, or you could do interviews. I think interviews are the main thing that really help. Talking to someone who's actually in the industry, what they're enjoying about it, what they don't like about it, was the main help for me. I did a fair bit of that.
And so interviewing people in the businesses you're considering joining.
Yeah, first up, I actually just talked to, before I actually found the strategy role, I just talked to a few people that were actually in advertising, and just sort of asked what they actually liked about it, if anything they don't like, and sort of what they do day to day. Just getting a sort of a feel for what they actually do every day was really helpful for me, and that sort of guided me on the path. Fantastic.
And I guess another thing that might have played a role would be your experiences as well, because you did quite a lot of different things.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure. They all sort of matched together to guide me to where I went. Sort of, there's nothing that sort of was one thing that led me to it. It was all sort of coming together that sort of finally found my way.
And now this is what you want to be doing for now. Do you have any ideas about long-term plans, or are you just thinking get into the role, become good?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's something I'm always thinking about. Like, potentially I would love to run my own business at one point, but I don't have an idea, so I don't know if that'll happen, but it's always something that is in the back of my mind that potentially in the future could be something. But I also do really love sort of advertising, and I'm loving everything I'm doing at the moment. It's super fun. It's super interesting. No 2 days different. Some days I'll be going on to look at KPMG, and then I'll be looking at Don's Small Goods. Like, it's just a ridiculous sort of variety that you wouldn't get in any other role. But for now, I sort of see myself in advertising for at least the next few years. And I sort of really enjoy it. So we'll see. Like, nothing's ever set in stone. I don't think you can ever set anything in stone. But so far, really enjoying advertising.
Fantastic. And the next place I wanted to go with this was your motivation. So when I first met you 2 and a bit years ago, one thing that stood out, and I still have records of this as I was looking back, was your ridiculous levels of, motivation or determination, your drive. I feel like compared to a lot of people I speak with, especially, students or graduates, you're just ridiculously motivated. What do you think that's just natural, or do you think have you got some? What do you think people can do to become more motivated like you are?
Oh, it's a tough question. I think that it's really finding what you like. Like that was the thing for me. I don't think I was a motivated person for the first couple of years of my degree. Like I kind of hated uni for a long time there, just because I just didn't find law that interesting. I wasn't liking the different majors I was doing, or the commerce subjects. So I think what really changed for me was finding marketing, and then finding that that's what I really like, and that's what sort of, I guess, flipped the switch in sort of my head, and just really sort of motivated me. I think one thing I always come back to as well is I can remember, I think I was doing my second, or maybe my first or second subjects in marketing, and I sort of thought, I should probably get some experience, probably a good idea. And so I talked to one of my my tutors and asked her if she knew anyone, and she said, I know this guy who works for the uni, you can go talk to him, and he can potentially help you find something. And so I went to him, and we sort of chatted, and he's like, so what experience do you have? What have you done? And then I had to say, I've just done a couple of marketing subjects. I haven't got any experience. And he was like, okay. And from then, he never messaged me back after that. Like, he never got me anything. So that was sort of motivating in itself, that, well, I'm not there. I need to do this myself. And yeah, for some reason that always stuck in my head. It was sort of a chip on the shoulder. And then from there, once you sort of are motivated by what you like, and it sort of just rolls from there. And I think you can, keep pushing.
Did you so you think it was mainly fueled by your interest in marketing?
I think so, yeah. I think it was definitely, finding that thing, because I think I was quite lost before then, and so finding that thing was quite empowering, and made me want to go and achieve and do good things, and actually try to make my way in the advertising world, marketing world. But I guess it is an internal thing, that just wanting to succeed in general. I think everyone probably has that, but it's finding that thing that allows you to succeed, whatever degree or whatever subject that is.
Would you say you were quite driven at, say, high school when it came to getting good grades and things like that, or?
I wasn't bad, I was fairly driven. I think I was definitely. I still wasn't the best student. I definitely was a little bit lazy at times, but I wasn't bad. I think I sort of was good in high school, and then sort of crashed in the first couple of years of uni, and then just I went up from there.
Really interesting. Any tips on people just kind of find any tips for people? Just kind of find what you love as quickly as possible?
Oh, it's another tough one. I think it is about doing the interviews, probably looking at your personality, looking sort of what you actually like in your life. What are the things you're good at? You've got to sort of marry them, I think. Because if you're not that great at something but you love it, it's probably not going to be the best thing to do. I guess thinking, are you a good writer? Are you good at maths? Are you good at are you a great sports person? Like, or do you just love talking to people? And that sort of can start to find whether it's someone who loves to talk to someone. It could be a sales role, or somebody who loves writing. It could be copywriting or marketing or something like that, or maths, going to data. I think finding something that you like that matches up with your skills and your innate sort of abilities is important.
Awesome. So I'm going to pivot again here a little bit. I'm clearly not a pro podcaster, but it'll do. So one thing that I've also noticed about you is you obviously you're very driven, still are, it seems, especially when you figured out marketing was your thing, got into it. You also seemed to seek out mentorship / coaching / learning opportunities quite a bit. I know it was more than 2 years ago you decided to book a call with me, for example. That was ages ago you were thinking about this. And I know you've also got mentors in the industry, probably quite a few. I don't know the exact how exactly it looks. But why do you keep seeking out these opportunities to have mentors or learn?
I think the main thing is the hidden job things that obviously you are a big a lover of. I think that the jobs that are out there, like the ones that advertise, a lot of people are going for them. I think that if you're getting mentors, that is going to create pathways potentially. Like if you sort of go from where I was at the beginning and then you sort of match up who I talk to, there's like a nice sort of line from one spot to the next. So I think definitely one part of it is the ability to sort of find the next opportunity and get people that can help you get to wherever you want to go. But I think it's also super important for just learning as well. Like there's people, I found that people are really helpful if you just ask, and it's kind of scary. It's kind of amazing how helpful people are willing to be, just because I guess they were also in that in this situation as when they were young, so that they're willing to give back and give up, whether it's an hour over Zoom or a 30-minute coffee or whatever it is. That most people are really good if you just ask and you're genuine about it and you come prepared as well. I think that's a super important thing. I think those are sort of the two things. It's getting that sort of it's almost reading, like when you read a book, you're basically gaining the knowledge of that person, whoever wrote it, and you can do the same when you're interviewing someone, I think, or chatting to someone and building that relationship. You're really getting to learn what their mistakes were and what worked for them, and then you can sort of build that into your own journey.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And it seems like when you do form these kind of mentor-mentee relationships, often people will... I feel like it's quite a strong bond.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
a weird way, it's quite strong. I mean, when someone kind of goes out their way to ask you for help in their time of need, and you're coming to their rescue, it's a strong bond.
Absolutely, and I think it is like, as much as the mentee is getting a lot out of it, I think the mentor does as well. Like they're giving back, and it's sort of it's a feel good thing to sort of tell your journey and actually help someone else. So I think it is a reciprocal relationship, which is, I think, the best thing about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think,
and you never know when potentially you can help out a mentor. So I think that's also something as well to keep in mind.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I've had, maybe you've had experience you can share, but for me personally, I've had a few different mentors, and one of them, definitely it was more I was more taking at the beginning, but then as it got kind of a bit further along, and I was becoming a bit more skilled in my work, I was able to actually, he was able to basically like hire me because he needed someone with my skill set. So in the end, it ended up kind of balancing out. Have you had have you got an example of that where maybe it's gone the other way? Instead of you taking, you've kind of given to a mentor?
I probably don't. But in a way, I guess a little bit. Like I had one of my, I guess, first mentors was in my first sort of first roles with Children's Cancer Institute, and so I was helping build their website there, and they had a guy who was a consultant who basically was a freelancer who sort of worked with them to do that, and I sort of started a relationship with him, asking, if you've got any other clients that you ever need help with, give me a buzz, and I'm happy to help with. And he ended up getting me my first sort of paid role in marketing, so with a running company, and so he was consulting with them and working with them, and they needed an intern, and I sort of ended up helping out him there, and that was great. Did that for like a year, but at sort of, I guess, 3/4 of the way through when I was working there, he sort of was his business was also growing, and he was needing someone to help him out a few days a week, and I was still trying to balance doing other stuff, and I was like, I don't really need any more work, but I'll just do it because he's helped me so much, and so I ended up working for him for a couple of months before I ended up getting my next role. So I guess that's one little way. I haven't had as much that sort of reciprocal yet, but I'm hoping sort of in the future that's something I can do.
Definitely, and it's also funny to see, like with Grad Jobs, I haven't been doing it for forever. I mean, it's only been a few years really, 2 where I've done it really hard, gone for it, and already, like at the start, I feel like you don't really see the reciprocation, but then after like a couple of years, I started noticing, like these clients now they're now senior analysts at Deloitte, and they're kind of referring my other clients in and giving me kind of advice and stuff. It's like you're giving me advice on my marketing. Remember that?
yeah,
like, you should do X, Y, Z, and I've taken that on board. Like you can see my content creation's gone up. Probably could be better, but it's really funny how that works out. I mean, imagine in 5 years you're head of like this rocket ship marketing company, and then you're having coffee with your mentors, and I'll be able to help them.
Well, word of mouth is the strongest thing in marketing, I think. So it definitely is the best thing, I think, for anyone.
Yeah, I need to chat to you about how I can get some more of that.
That's good.
I reckon you could have are you even allowed to have your own little consultancy on the side, or do you have to sign that away?
I think you can. Yeah, I think you can sort of do a little bit extra, but I guess it just depends how much you can actually do. That's the thing. But I think that's definitely an option potentially.
Very interesting. Anyway, moving on. So, coming to the job search part. So you managed to get lots of different internships. How many offers did you end up getting as a graduate? Was it 2 or 3 or?
3, yeah.
3 offers. And how, if you're able to share some information, you don't have to share all of it. It could just be very high level or brief. What were your main strategies for getting those?
So coming towards the end of my uni last year, and I sort of, obviously I knew I wanted to go into advertising and as a junior strategist, but those roles are hard to come by. Like there's not many junior strategist roles. Generally, strategy is one of the smaller sort of departments in most agencies. Then, like in my agency, there's 4 of us, and then there's out of 60 people. So I knew I had to be realistic that potentially I may not be able to get in at the start. So I sort of realized that I've got a lot of marketing experience as well. I know I'll be able to get a marketing role, and so I said I'll just sort of look, but I'm not really. I was prepared to wait for a junior strategist role as well. So, but then sort of coming to sort of, I guess, November sort of time, I ended up getting a few messages from recruiters, and nothing really stood out to me except this one in a startup, a law startup, and it seemed like quite an interesting opportunity, and I thought, well, nothing's sort of happening yet with the junior strategist. I'll just apply and sort of, I'll just see what happens, and I might not get it, whatever. And so I applied, had a few interviews with them, and everything was going really well, and they ended up actually offering me the job. I sort of made it clear in the second interview that I do have this other interest, and that potentially that may mean that I might not actually go with them if they offered me the role. So I was actually glad I did that, because otherwise I feel like it would have been quite rude when I did end up rejecting it later on. But yeah, I ended up, it took me 3 days to decide that whether I should take that role or not. And it was a difficult one, because it's a really interesting company. I thought the mentors that would be at that role would be really good. And I thought it would be really interesting, as I think the startup space is super interesting. And I think if I didn't go in advertising, that's what I would have gone. But in the end, I had to follow my dream, and I had to take the chance that so this is sort of December, so coming up right up to Christmas. I knew that if I didn't take it, I wouldn't have a job for the next few months, probably, because generally most places don't make hires until that sort of February, March period. And so, yeah, I ended up taking a weekend and deciding to reject that offer and waiting it out. But I also, in that time, I was also looking for people that I could talk to. I obviously had a couple of mentors in advertising, and sort of prospecting from them, and sort of so one of them, I asked if she could sort of in her, if there anything ever came up, please tell me. And so something did end up coming up in that sort of February period, and so I ended up applying for that, a couple of interviews, and then ended up getting offered the role. And then, so that was on a Thursday, and then on that night I chatted with another mentor, someone who I've sort of had spoken with for the previous sort of 6 months, and he told me about another a junior strategist role at the place I'm currently at, that had just opened up. And so within that sort of Thursday, I had an interview on Friday, and then another interview on Monday, and then I had both offers by the Tuesday. So yeah, it was a sort of crazy period. Both were sort of helped by mentors, and yeah, then I had a really tough decision, because both were strategist roles, both in interesting companies, but one of them was more focused on creative versus sort of digital strategy, which is a little bit different. And I was more interested in sort of the advertising and brand strategy that was that I could get at the Royals, which I ended up choosing. So it was a difficult decision, but yeah, that was sort of how I went about it. I think it was mainly continuing the strategies I was already doing. So sort of asking mentors and sort of just keeping a lookout. I knew that an advertised role wasn't probably coming, and if it was, it would be it would have heaps and heaps of people applying for it. So I knew that I had to sort of use sort of my contacts to find someone once I sort of decided that I was going to go down the advertising road.
So awesome. Yeah. So one of those jobs was completely not advertised?
Yes, I got in before. Actually, yeah, yes. So yeah, one of them ended up getting advertised, but I was sort of told I should apply for it, and then the other one was literally someone had just left, and then my mentor heard about it and was able to get me in, and yeah, I was luckily enough able to impress him.
Fantastic. So the tips here would be build some relationships with people at target companies. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that, if there's the prime thing that I could tell anyone, it is the relationships, everything. And it doesn't have to be many. It doesn't have to be 20, 30 people that you're talking to all the time. There only needs to be a couple of people that are well connected that can help out, I think. and sort of building strong relationships with them will eventually sort of pay off, I think, no matter what. Whether it's they help you with your next role or it could be way down the line, who knows.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Awesome. I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I really think I'll ask today is just what's your biggest piece of advice for people who want to, follow in your footsteps? And I think you just gave me it, but...
well, definitely that's one of them, is definitely the relationships. But I was actually thinking about this today. What would advice I would give? And the second thing is around finding learning opportunities outside of uni or your degree, and sort of actually targeting some things that are really desired in whatever you're going into. So the first thing I did before I got any experience, because I knew that it was going to be hard to get experience without anything on a resume to do with marketing, was I did a digital marketing course with RMIT online. So that ended up helping me show that I've got a little bit of, I know what I'm sort of doing. And then from there, I did sort of the mini MBA with Mark Ritson, which is another really good course and sort of something that's really well regarded in the marketing industry. Like if you've done that, it's kind of for senior marketers. So for me to do it kind of shows basically anyone that was looking at me that I'm serious and that I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I guess finding something that not necessarily juniors should be doing and then actually doing it can actually be a huge advantage, I think. And then when I sort of was looking at sort of the more advertising side, I found sort of the Advertising Council Australia do a strategy course, and I did that, and that gave me sort of the backup that said I can do this role, and it gave me the knowledge that most people probably don't have coming into a junior strategist role. They're probably just someone that's usually just interested in it, and they haven't had that knowledge yet. They probably do that down the line. But yeah, it sort of gave me a competitive advantage, which I think was really important basically everywhere I went. And it's not cheap to sort of, like, none of those, I actually spent quite a bit of money on all those things. Like, they're more, I think Mark Ritson's was more than $1,500. Similar for the strategy course. But I would never not pay that. Like, I think you're going to get that investment back in anything you get in the future. Obviously, I know not everyone can do that. It's something that's, I guess, quite privileged, and there's always other free courses or charity courses, but doing something like that really does give you, I guess a lot of sort of interesting skills and sort of experience that you can really talk to and show that you're, I guess, someone that stands out of the pack.
That's really good advice. That's really interesting. So basically becoming more valuable to your employers through figuring out what is actually valuable and doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I think, and I think most like we live in a time where there's so much online, so many different courses you can do, and I think obviously for marketing it was there's heaps. But yeah, finding out what are the sort of the most regarded things in your industry, what are the things that are helping people get jobs is super important and can really set you apart, especially if it's something that not necessarily juniors are doing as well. I think that's something that really helped me. Just it was sort of a lot of when I had done the marketing Mark Ritson course, it was sort of a wow, you've done that every time I was sort of interviewed. It's like, that's unusual for a junior to have done that.
Fantastic. Any final words?
No, I think build relationships and do courses that can set you up as someone who's more valuable than most other juniors, and I think anyone can do great with those two things. Fantastic.
And my last quick question. This is more selfish for me, but what do you think was, like, if you could pick one thing about the Grad Jobs program working with me, what was the one best thing about it that helped you? Like, the number one thing you got out of it, what was that?
I think you definitely pushed me to increase my building of relationships. It was something I was sort of starting to do, but you give like a really great sort of template to actually do that, and the messages and sort of the dashboard as well for setting them all up. I think that was really valuable for me, which pushed me to then to really, I guess, make that more of a process than something I was just sort of doing on the side.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you very much.
No worries.
So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. That was a really, really valuable session today. So thank you very much. I hope if you're watching this and you're looking to get a good grad role or get into marketing, this really, really helped you. And yeah, if you want to reach out to me, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. And thank you very much, Tommy. I really appreciate it. I know you're working a lot, so taking the time out means a lot. So I appreciate it.
No worries, Mackenzie. Anything for you. It's been a fantastic help, so I'd definitely recommend anyone get on board if they're not already.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Awesome. Have a good one. See you, mate.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Bye.